Okay, good evening. It's our last session on MIS, right? So actually today I'm not going to discuss any particular topic because we already covered the content. So the purpose of today's lecture is to discuss any issues if you have any questions or whatever the things from what we have discussed so far. So is there anything that you need to further discuss in the class? So anything that you want to clarify, whatever the maybe topics that we have discussed. Now hope you are going through all these things because you have only 3 weeks, 4 weeks left for the exam, I think, right? So any issue, any question, or otherwise we'll go to some past paper questions and discuss them. But before that, it's better if you have anything that we can go to them and then come to this. Okay, there is a question from Vitanage. Difference between public key and private key in encryption. Is this a password? Oh, this is actually not a password, but a mechanism that we use in communication, which we can communicate securely, right? So encryption means, now if you remember what we discussed in the class, so when sending a message over the internet, so the message is converted using standards, message is converted into whatever the suitable way of sending along the medium, and it's sent as a plain message. So plain message means anyone, because so this all the computers are following standard, same standard, otherwise they can't get the message. So that means anyone, if we get whatever the data traveling along a particular medium, they can read the message or whatever the content. For example, if we consider now, think that you are entering your username and password to log into your e-banking system. Now, if it goes as a plain message, right, someone can get that information from the network and get your username and password. So it is not a good thing, right? Especially when we talk about usernames and password for sensitive systems, it is not a good thing. So to avoid that, we use this process called encryption. Now in encryption, what we do is we convert whatever the thing that we have to send to some other form by using some mechanism. So if you remember, we discussed 2 types of encryptions. One is public key encryption and other one is symmetric key encryption, or symmetric key encryption and asymmetric key encryption. In symmetric key encryption, what we do is to convert the message into something else, some other form, we use a particular key and an algorithm. Right? A particular key and an algorithm we use. That means we put some other letters instead of the letters existing there, or some other code instead of the letter, right? But for the reader, the other side, the receiver, if they want to read this message, they also need to know the key and the method, right? Otherwise they can't read the message. No. If we use a particular key and some way of converting the message using that key to some other form. So other party also should know the key and the method to read the message. Otherwise, they can't read the message. But again, now we have a problem. Then sharing of this key. So if I use a key to convert message to some other form, other party also need to use the same key. So we have to send other party the key. So when sending the key, someone in the middle get the key. They can again read the message. So as a solution for that, this public key encryption introduced. So in this public key encryption, what happens is we can generate a pair of keys. Right? These two keys are not the same, but mathematically related. But it is not easy to predict the other key if you know one key, because this key is very large, like 2048 bits long key. So such a key, so we generate a pair of such keys, right? One we identify as a public key and one we identify as a private key. The nature of this pair is, so we can prove mathematically. Remember, I gave you the notes as well. You can see the notes in the LMS. So the nature of these two keys are, they are mathematically related, and if you encrypt the message using one key, that message can be decrypted, that means converted back to the original message only using the other key. You understand? Say if you have a message, say your password, you convert your password using this key to some other form, right? So that can be converted back to the original form only using the other key. So such a way we generate these two keys. So that is possible mathematically. I have illustrated the algorithm as well in the slides. You go through the slides and you will see. You understand? Now what happens here is then, so if someone want to have a secure communication, right, they can generate a pair of keys. Right? They can generate a pair of keys, or there are authorities, we call certificate authorities, who provide these keys. So think that you are going to start a business. So you are going to have an e-commerce. Say, so there you have to have a, say, website that visitors come, log in and buy products. So there visitors create their accounts in your website, and you have a form that visitors can type their username and password and log into your system. Now in that case, when you have to make sure that visitors' usernames and passwords are not accessed by some other third parties. So what you can do is, you request from a certificate authority a pair of keys. One is the public key and the other is the private key. So this private key you keep with you, right? You install the private key in your server. Understand? And when someone accesses your site, they are getting your public key from the certificate authority. So the certificate authority is something like that. So if if someone accesses your site, then the browser download the public key of that your site from the certificate authority. And whatever the information you enter then is encrypted using that public key. So once it is encrypted using the public key, then only your server can decrypt it, because your server has the private key. You understand? So that is what happened in this secure communication. Now if you go to websites, I think I showed you this. Now if you go to a website, I'll show you. Now I think you can see here. Now I access the Bank of Ceylon online banking page. So I'm not going to log in because then you can see my account balance. So now here you can see at the top, just before the address bar, it's not like other normal pages, right? So you can see green color tab with the padlock sign, right? So that means this site is secure. This site is secure means when you open this site has a pair of keys. They have installed their private key in their web server, this online banking web server, and when you open this page, you are getting the public key. So you can even see the public key. We'll show you. Now this is the certificate information, right? You can see the details. Now here, so this is the certificate details, right? So you can see, so this is issued to www.boc.web.lk by Symantec class 3. The Symantec is well-known certificate authority, right? Symantec, VeriSign, there are a number of certificate authorities, GeoTrust, and you can see the validity period, and you can see the details of this. If you go to the details, here you can see the public key. Public key is there. See, it is 2048 bits long public key. It's a very long public key. So this is the public key. Now whatever the information you enter in this site, say your username or password or whatever, is encrypted using this key. It converts to some other form. Actually it uses this algorithm called RSA algorithm. Right? Using that algorithm, it converts this, whatever your username and password, using this key to some other form. So what is it? Once it is converted, that cannot be converted back to the original form without having private key. Private key is only with the web server in Bank of Ceylon's headquarters or wherever where the web server is located. There it installs the private key. So then that web server, that is actually what we try to access, is that web server. That web server only can read your username and password. That is what happens here in public private key encryption. Actually the process is somewhat complex than this, right? The reason is actually, now here this site is, you can see this is HTTPS site. Normal site is HTTP. This is HTTPS. So here we use some process called secure socket layer communication. Actually what happens here is this public private key encryption is little bit slower, but symmetric key encryption we discussed earlier is faster. There both parties use the same key, but the problem we had there is sharing this key, right? This sharing of this key is difficult because someone in the middle may get the key, but we can have a solution for that sharing option using this public private key encryption, right? Now there what happens is, now if I want to access BOC online web page, when I go to the site, and when accessing the site, there is a we call negotiation between two parties, right? When I access the site, now site sends its public key to me. So there you saw the public key. Site sends its public key to my browser. Then what I do is, my browser generates a symmetric key, and encrypt the key with the public key of the web server and send it to the web server. Now the symmetric key is securely shared, you can see, right? Symmetric key is securely shared because I generate a symmetric key and encrypt it with the public key and send it to the server. And server decrypt the key with its private key, and now server has the private key sorry, server had that symmetric key which I have generated, I securely send it to the server. Now key is shared. Now using the same key, both parties can continue communication. So that is faster. So that is what is used in this HTTP SO, so we call secure socket layer, SSL. You understand? So Vitanage, did you get the answer for your question? Any other questions? Any other questions? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it is there basically. If there is a backup now, actually what happens is now there is a question from the class if there is a backup server. Now normally what we do in the backup server is, now you mean now data backup or backup server? That means in case if one crashes, the online banking continues. You mean that, right? But of course, there are also what happens is your URL doesn't change now. It is same www.boc. Sorry, www. Whatever that boc.lk say, right? Your URL doesn't change now. So normally this pair of keys issued to a particular URL. Right, so the same key can be used with the other server as well. Now normally what happens is in a backup system, what happens is if one server crashes, the other one automatically gets the position, that IP address, and continue the communication. So that also use the same private key. Of course we can keep the same private key in that server as well. But there are problems, right? Even so we say that this is secure. You know that the internal people have access to these servers maybe. So if someone wants to steal this private key internally, of course there are possibilities. Therefore, it is not enough to have these things secured using technology, but physically also these things has to be secured. You might have noticed that those server rooms and all, anyone doesn't have access to those servers. Only key person have access to these server rooms, because someone else can go to the server room and get those data and change those data. Those things are possible internally, right? When we talk about security, those are very important. So anything else? Now, I think you have gone through past papers, right? So when you go through past papers, what you might have noticed is most of the questions there are application level questions. That means how whatever these things are used in a real situation, right? So they are actually not only a particular thing, but of course I have asked particular things as well, but you should be able to organize these things into one solution, right? One logical solution to give a better answer for these questions. And out of that, actually, you know that we discuss two assignments at the beginning of the class, right? Or one we already conducted. There, I think we had 7 quizzes so far. So that is what is going to be, right? So 7 quizzes. So from those 7 quizzes, I'll calculate for 20%, and you will get that 20%. And for another 20%, we plan to have a case study, and I arrange a place in the LMS for you to join into groups. But there, I think only 4 or 5 groups are completed. That means around 30 students. So around 40 students still out of groups. So they will not get those 20%, that 20% if they do not do the assignment. So this is an announcement. So as I'll extend the enrollment period, so please enroll to the groups as soon as possible, or otherwise the people, those who are not in groups, will not get any mark for this assignment. So therefore, I'll extend it for 1 more week, so you can enroll into groups, and the deadline for this particular assignment is 1 week after the last exam date, right? It's after the exam. So I'm not going to make you in trouble during this short period to study for the exam. So I'll keep 1 week after the exam, so then you can submit it by that. And I'll upload the case studies for each group, right, with the group name and the case study. So you can analyze the case study and provide a report by the group. So that is it, how it's going to be. Any question? What is a business process? Now, so one of the basic questions we had, right, that question you can see in the paper as well. What is a business process? Business process? Business process we can define as set of activities to accomplish a target in a business, some activity in a business, we can say as a business process. So can you tell me a few examples of a business process? For example, if we take say a pizza shop, can you tell me a business process? One business process in a pizza shop. Like delivering an order, a process, one process. So that delivering an order process may consist of number of sub processes, or that spans through different functional areas as well, you know that. So taking the order and transferring order and generating invoice, and then manufacturing or the manufacturing of the product and delivery of the product to the customer. So all these sub activities are there in that major business process if we consider. That is one business process. That is not the only business process in a pizza shop. So there are other business processes like getting supplies, recruitment of employees, or recruitment of riders, right? and payment of salaries. So there are a number of business processes there if we take a system for the pizza shop, right? So you can have a number of like there may be other examples. Say for example, again if you look at past papers, there is another question as I remember. I have asked what is a business process and an example of business process of a hospital, right? So there you can have a number of processes in a hospital, like admitting a patient or duty allocation for nurses or doctors. So number of processes are there, right? Or calculation of or salary process, salary payment process, or supplies process. Number of processes are there which consist of a lot of sub processes as well, right? Yes, that's another good question. Both management information system and decision support systems are almost same, supporting to middle level management decisions. What may be the difference? DSS uses information from both TPS and MIS. So, can you tell me an answer for this? So, this may be a question in the paper. I don't remember exactly, but sorry? Yeah. MIS also used by the middle level management. Both systems are used by middle level management. MIS and DSS. Then what is the difference? Basically, MIS is routine. To answer routine questions, we use MIS. So, for example, now think that, for example, the lowest level system, TPS's transaction processing system, again for routine question, right? So, for example, now very basic thing, right? Like if there are five leaves, then what is the deduction, kind of thing. Those are basic routine question. Transaction processing systems are something like that. And MIS also like that, but transaction processing system answers short-term questions, like maybe daily based questions, which occur in whatever the business. But MISs are like not very short-term, but medium-term questions, like what is the required supplies to a particular branch in next month, right? What is the required supplies to a particular branch, say in a supermarket network, a particular item, what is the amount to be supplied in next month? So that is basically we make that decision based on the information generated by the transaction processing system. That is the last month's sales may be generated by the transaction processing system. Last month's sales is this much, and we can predict the next month also the same. Or if we analyze sales of the last year, and that is again based on the TPS data last year, then the sales are sales variations you can identify, and you can think that next month this much is required, right? Those are routine questions anyway, right? So such questions can be answered using MIS, but DSS is basically we use for non-routine questions, that not happens every time, every day, right? But short term again. That use only not only information from the lower level system, but environmental information is also important. So, for example, if the VAT increased to 15%, what will be the effect of the sales, right? So, if you want to make a decision and whether the supplies or whether the sales are going down, if so, how we can overcome those things. So, such analysis, if you want to do that, you have to use decision support systems. And if you go to the top level executive support systems, those also address non-routine decision making, but those are long-term non-strategic decisions, like opening of a new branch in another area, or planning human resources for next 5 years. Those are long-term strategic decisions that is again based on the internal data as well as environmental data, whether there are new competitors and the demand for the products and all these things. By considering all these things, those systems can make decisions. So therefore, basically the difference between MIS and DSS is MIS is middle management but routine decisions, but DSS non-routine decisions. You got the answer again, Vitanaki? So anything else? Sorry? Cloud computing. Drawbacks of cloud computing. There is disadvantages. What are the drawbacks of cloud computing? Now we discussed, right, cloud computing. Now cloud computing has a lot of advantages, of course, because investment, if we consider, right, you know that cloud computing there is an answer from Vitanagi, security issues, of course, because normally what happens in the cloud computing is we place our data in some other place. But of course, these cloud service providers, they make sure about the security, but still there are concerns about the among the businesses, that because data is with someone else, even though whatever the security they say, but if they want, they can access the data, right? If they want, they can access data. You don't have any security about that, right? So you know that it says that Facebook people so access your data and sell those data or give those data to other parties or whatever the thing. Right? There are issues like that, but generally, if we consider, the advantages are higher than these drawbacks, because I think that if you want to start a business, right, if you want to have IT infrastructure, softwares, hardwares, and other resources, right, so it is a big investment if you try to buy them for your own. So rather, if you can go for these cloud services, what you have to do is only for a monthly subscription, you can get whatever the services. And also scalability is very much important here, because in cloud computing it is scalable. So next month if the sales goes high, you can get more capacity, or next month if the number of customers are increasing, then you can get for more capacities. But if you buy the things, then if the requirements are increasing, then you may be not, it is not possible to rely with the existing hardware. Then you have to throw away the existing hardware and go for the new hardware with more capacities. So those are the things. Now, when comparing those things, actually advantages are higher than the disadvantages, but such disadvantages also there. The security is one issue, one basic issue, and also the mindset of the people and all. Sometimes they don't like to use those things. So such things are there. Security is one of the major issues that we can discuss. Anything else? What is RFID? RFID, radio frequency identifiers. So RFID is radio frequency identifier. What is the use of RFID? So basically RFIDs are used to, like in RFID is a tag, right? And which is having a small, it's like a small chip, a circuit, which is capable of keeping some information. There are two types of RFIDs, active RFIDs and passive RFIDs. As passive RFIDs doesn't have any power source, it uses the power of the radio frequency to communicate or transmit. But active RFIDs, they have power source. So now these RFIDs can be used as tags for items, like maybe for garments. RFIDs are used. I'll show you an example, but those who are online, they may not be able to see this. But anyway, I'll show this to the others here in the class. I had a RFID tag. So this, now I don't know whether the people online, those who can see this, so this is RFID tag. Right here you can see there is a small circuit or chip inside. We'll see whether I can show this to those who are online. So this is an RFID tag, you can see. Right now, so now this has a small amount of information stored in it, maybe product code or something. Right now, the nature of this is now when this is there in the shop, the system knows the item is there in the shop. Right, and where is the item, the exact location of the item, everything system knows. Right, so especially when in supply chain management and all, inventory management, we can use this kind of things, because then without physically counting items, we can see how many items are there in the shop, all stores. Right, and also RFIDs can be used like fully automate the systems, like now even you can pick the item and go to the point of sales terminal, or you can even check out through automated system, right? So you can scan the RFID, or you don't need to even scan because it is always scanning. So when you bring it out from the premises without clearing it, so it may buzz an alarm sometimes. So kind of things. So such things you can use this RFID. One example where RFIDs are used here in expressways, there is one lane called ETC lane, you might have seen. So it is electronic payment lane. So there you don't need to pay using cash, or you can use a prepaid card, and you can just go through the lane, and whatever the amount is automatically reduced from your account. Right, they are also, I think they use RFIDs. So there are a lot of applications of RFIDs. Especially this inventory management, it is a very useful tool. Fully automated supermarkets, like now when you pick the item and put it into a shopping cart, say shopping cart, say it has a RFID receiver, and shopping cart reads what are the things inside the shopping cart, right? So when you bring the shopping cart out, right? Say in a supermarket, when you get the shopping cart, you have to provide your account or credit card information or whatever the thing, and you can just bring it out. So automatically the amount is reduced from your account, added to your account or whatever. Got it? Anything else? Now active RFIDs are used, we can use for like the military purposes sometimes. So there is a battery source, right? And we can locate the places where the soldiers are located and all to monitor where they are going, and all these things we can use active RFIDs. And also you know that wildlife research and all, to track the wildlife, sometimes we can use RFID tags, right? So for example, think that you give some medicine to a particular wildlife in their real environment, and later if you want to find them, so what you do is you tag them with RFID tag, then you can easily find the particular animal. After you using a particular gadget, maybe you can see where they are. You can find where they are, locations. (2014) paper is there in the LMS. It's there, no? It's there. Pereira is there in the LMS. So there is a separate category for past paper. So you go to that place, and there you can find 2014 paper. No, 2015 is there, and as well 2014 is also there. So I'll show you the place. Now at the bottom you have a category called past papers. So go there, and in past papers, here you can see 2015 first semester paper, and as well 2014 first semester paper, Management Information Systems. Both is there. seems you are good at MIS. I think you don't have much questions, right? So no more questions? No. Now what about database things? So you can manage database things, ER diagrams and those things? Okay with you? Hmm? Fifth question, C part. So this is so there it asks to map this to relational database schema, right? I think you remember we did this in the class. So we did the whole process actually, design an ER diagram and then mapping that into a real relational model, that is what is very close to the real database. Okay, we'll do this if you want to get familiar or remind the things, we can do this, how to map this, right? Basically, I think you remember we discussed when mapping this kind of thing, what we have to do is you have to map this uh, one by one, right? So I'll show you. Okay, now you have to map this one to its relational model. Right now, basically what we do here is, now you know there are 4 entities here with their attributes, right? What we basically do is, we first map these entities with their attributes to corresponding relations or tables, right? Now, if we take this one, then, so you can right? Uh, what you have first, product line, product, right? Employee, warehouse. So those are the things. There are product line, employee, product, warehouse, right? We'll get one by one. Product line, this is product line, right? And then we have, sorry, I'm not drawing ER, no. Product line. So attributes in product line is description and code, right? Code and description. We have code and description, right? So these are the things in product line. Right here, code is the key attribute. So here, as the primary key, we can select code as the primary key. And then what else we can have there? We have product, right? Product. In product, we have product number, product name, right? We have product number, product name. Here not mentioned there, mistake I think. Product number we can use as the primary key. But there is another attribute there, that is pricing. But here when you look at pricing, you can see this pricing is a multi-valued attribute. That means a particular product can have different pricings. And also the pricing is a composite attribute. The reason is one product can have different pack size. So for example, a particular brand of milk powder you can consider. So it might have 250 gram, 400 gram, 1 kilogram, like different pack size. So therefore the pricing is also different. That means one product can have different pack size and different prices. So multi-value. So therefore, normally if you remember how we address the multi-valued attributes in this relational model is, we introduce a new relation, new table for multi-valued attributes, because otherwise all the other things also we have to repeat. Because if we introduce new records for every pack size, so for example, think a particular product available in say 10 pack sizes, we have to repeat other attributes of the product also 10 times. To avoid that, what we do is we introduce a new table only with the product number and these things. That is, now pricing is a composite attribute. What we use is the component of that. So then our new table is say product price or something, right? Say product price, I'll draw it here. Product price, there we use product number, pack size and price. Product number, pack size and price. So what is the key primary key here? Product number only we can't, because product number is same for all different pack size. Product number and pack size together we have to get as the primary key. That determines the price. Product number and pack size together we consider as the primary key here. And then the other one is employee here. Employee ID and name, right? ID, that is the primary key, and name, right? And then we have warehouse. We have a code and address. Warehouse code and address. So I'll put it here, warehouse code address. Warehouse code and address. Right, code is the primary key there. Okay, now we have all the attributes, all the entities mapped, right? Then the thing is we have to maintain the relationships. Now, how to maintain the relationships here? So now, for example, now you can see, now there is a relationship between product line and employee, right? That is a sales rep for, right? In one product line, there are many employees, sales rep per one product line. But if we take one employee is always sales rep per one product line. So then how we know which employee sales rep for which product line? We have to use the foreign key concept. If you remember, we introduced something called foreign key. Then using foreign key, how we maintain this? We introduce a foreign key to keep the relationship. Now, introducing foreign key, we have to consider this one-to-many relationship, because at any side we can't introduce foreign key. It's not possible. For example, in product line side, we can't have employee number, because for one product line there are many employees. Therefore, the best thing here is include the product line code in employee side, right? Then we know to which product line that employee sales rep. You understand? So therefore, in product line, we have to employ, sorry, not product line, in employee we have to employ product line code, right? Say product line code. So that is a foreign key in this case. Product line code here is the foreign key. And the other things, if we consider, now between product line and product also, it is a one-to-many relationship. Understand? Now that means in one product line there are many products. One product line there are many products, but one product is always in one product line. So that they are also the same. So we have to identify to which product line a particular product belongs to. Particular product belongs to. That means there also what we have to do is, in product, we have to mention the product line code. Then we can identify which product line that product belongs to. Because that is also one-to-many. We can't do it in any side. In product line side, we can't have product code. The reason is, one product line, there are many products. So that is not possible to have it there. Right? Because under one record, we can't have many products. So, but in product side, for one product, we have only one product line. So that is possible. Then product side, we can include product line code. In product also, we can have product line code as the foreign key to refer that and identify what is the product line. And what else? And between employee and warehouse also you can see a relationship called manage. There you can see one employee manage one warehouse and one warehouse have one manager, but that is one-to-one. But still there is a way of finding what is the relationship or how to maintain the relationship there. Because now you can see one side is here partial and the other side is total. That means employee side is partial. That means every employee can't be managers. But warehouse side total, that means every warehouse need to have a manager. That means now if we try to include employee side, the managing warehouse, only few employees has a value there because many employees are not managers. Then the best solution here again, in the warehouse side, if we can include employee ID of the manager, then we can easily identify who is the manager of a particular warehouse, right? Who is the manager of a particular warehouse. So therefore, we include, in warehouse we include uh, I'll put it here. What goes here is actually managers employee ID. So this is the foreign key. By using this foreign key, we can refer the employee table and find who is the manager, right? And there is another important thing here, that is the relationship between product and warehouse. That is many-to-many relationship. One product is stored in many warehouses, and in one warehouse there are many products as well. Now, how to keep this relationship? So, using the concepts we have used so far, we can't have this relationship. To keep this relationship we discussed, if you remember, we have to introduce a new relation to keep this relationship. So, there what we normally do is we take the primary keys of the both sides and include it in one relation and have it as the new relation. And also, if there are any attributes on the relationship itself, those things also we use as attributes of this new relation, because the attributes on the relationship always determined by the relationship. You know that now a particular product in one warehouse, there is a particular quantity, and the same product in another warehouse, another quantity. You understand? And one product in one warehouse have a particular quantity, and another product in the same warehouse there's another quantity. So because of that, so there what we have to do is, then we have to have a new relation, say called stored. So there we take the primary keys of both sides, product number and warehouse code. Product number and warehouse code, right? And in addition to that, we can have quantity as well. But what is the primary key here? Both combination. The reason is only combination determines the relationship. A particular product in one warehouse, the same product in another warehouse, the combination. Right? The combination is the primary key. So this is the complete mapping of the given this thing into now tables. Now you can enter data in these tables. You can create these tables in whatever the tool, say MS Access or whatever, and put data, and then you can have whatever the information from this you can retrieve. So for example, say there is a product called brand X milk powder, right? Brand X milk powder. Then we can find what is the total amount of brand X milk powder stored at all warehouses. Total quantity of brand X milk powder stored at all warehouses. So that information we have, because we know the product code, and using that product code we can find the warehouses where that product is stored and the quantities. Then we can get the sum of those quantities. Or if you want to find the manager of the warehouse where the most amount of a particular milk powder is stored, that is also possible. Everything we can retrieve from this table. Anything, not everything, anything. Okay. Anything else? And the other thing is the case study, right? Now you will get a case. Now in the past papers only one you have case study, but definitely for this also you are getting a case study. Now case study also what you have to do is analyze the case, and there are some questions. So you have to answer those questions logically based on the information from the given case and also the knowledge you gain from this course. So that whatever the case study I give you based on this topic, right? Whatever the topics we discuss, MIS related topics. Actually, we miss there are some good topics actually is good to discuss with the audience, but we miss those topics because of those the trade union action, because we had I think 2 classes without audience, right? So I think e-commerce is also discussed during that while you are here. E-commerce lecture you were here, right? What are the lectures that data mining part? That also you were here. What are the topics that we discuss without IT infrastructure? And security? You were here in the security lectures. Okay. And then only one you miss? 2 lectures, 2 weeks. Security also you were not here, right? I think, yeah. Anything else? Nothing comes to your mind? So that means good, that means no questions. Oh, either you don't know whether there are questions. Ethics, you know, generally what is ethics? Information systems also there are ethics, right? Now there are things that we don't do, right? So those things actually we didn't have lecture for ethics, right? Did we? Huh? Dhammika sir discuss, right. So ethics and social issues. So there are things, right? When we talk about information systems, you know that nowadays if we discuss, so there are a lot of cases now, social issues and ethics. Now security also part of that, but there are things that we can't control with whatever the security measures we have. There are things that we can't control, because you know that we can say now think that information technology, right? Now the society, if we consider societies, okay, forget about information technology. Now for a long period of time, the society is like we can say regulated with different laws, right? Government laws by the governments and all the things are regulated. So there are less possibilities of doing anything against those things with those laws and regulations. But you know, this new IT is new thing to this society. Now if we take this society as a harm pond, the IT is like dropping a stone on it. It makes new ripples, right? Now it creates new opportunities to do unethical things or criminal related things, right? Which cannot be covered with existing laws, right? So there are new laws required for that, but still everything cannot be covered with existing laws. So that is where we need ethics. Now you know that what in general society what we consider as ethics, the things that we cannot control sometimes, right? But ethically we refrain from doing such things, right? There are ethics related to different maybe maybe uh, occupations as well, the jobs related to different ethics. There are different ethics related to different jobs, right? And at the same time, different professional organizations, they are their ethics. So, for example, code of ethics, right? So, like that, here also they are right. Now, think about administrator of a email system of your company, email net system server administrator. Now, as an administrator, if he want, he can, that cannot be restricted. He can go to any other's email and read the content of the email. But ethically, it is not a good thing, right? But there are ways, if we can find that he did such unethical thing, there should be laws, or the party who the victimized party should have a way to recognize the person and take any action against him and recover whatever the damage happened. So this social and ethical, under social and ethical issues, we discuss those things, laws and related things. And also when doing, say, assignments and all. Now, think that you just copy something from the internet as it is and submit as your work. So it is not it is possible. That cannot be restricted. But it is unethical, and if you are caught, we can take actions against you. So it is unethical. So there are ways of doing that. If you get someone else's idea, you can of course get someone else's idea and use it in your words, but you have to give the credit to that person. You have to acknowledge that person. Right? By doing that, you can do that. But if you copy something and use it as your knowledge that you have generated, it's not ethical. Right? If you are doing research, you can generate your own knowledge, of course. So, because all these things that I am teaching here is not my knowledge. Some knowledge that someone else found or generated. Then I got familiar with that knowledge, with my studies, and I deliver that knowledge to you. So I can't say that this is my knowledge, and that is why I don't even put my name in these slides. This is not my knowledge. I am delivering, of course. Okay. Anything else? So then get a small break, then things comes to your mind, right? So while having a break, you will get some issues that you have, then we'll discuss those things after a break. So we'll have a small break then. Okay, so we'll start again now. There is a question from Bandara. Actually, now I extended the group selection, right? Because many of you are not in groups yet. Therefore, I extended it till 25th. So it was closed on 11th, but now it is extended till 25th. So those who are not in groups yet, you can enroll into groups. So, but the maximum limit is 7 there. You can see that already there are 7 members. You can't enroll into those groups, but other groups you can join, and you can get the contacts from the LMS of those people, and or you can contact the people over the LMS and arrange the case study discussion, which I make available from maybe within this week onwards, or after the groups are closing, actually from next week onwards. From 25th onwards, I will make available the cases, but the submission date is 1 week after the exam. So the Sunday we are finishing exam, and then next Sunday will be the submission date deadline for the case study. And for those who are online now, we already had 8 quizzes from the sections which I have discussed, and you are going to do 2 more quizzes, and I'll make available those 2 quizzes within this week, right, from the sections Mr. Dhammika covered. One is social and ethical issues, and the other one is today's topic, managing knowledge. Right, from those 2 topics I'll make available 2 more quizzes, and again I'll make them available within this week and keep it open for 2 weeks. Both I'll make available within this week and keep it open for 2 weeks. You can attempt those 2 quizzes to complete 10 quizzes of under that, right? So again, further questions on MIS? No questions? Third question. We'll see. So which part? C part? All? A part. Question: what types of relationships are possible in a relational database? Describe and give an example of each. What are the types of relationships possible in relational database? We discuss one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and many-to-many relationships. So those are the possible relationships. Right, now describe and give an example of each. Now you can describe, right, what is one-to-one. That one-to-one means one entity is relate with, so one instant of an entity is relate with many entities of the other side, and one of those entity relate with only one entity. So like with that you can explain with diagrams and examples. So for example, you can draw a diagram, you can show the entity type and their instances and how they are related with the other side, right? You got it? One-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and many-to-many relationship. I think you remember, right? We discussed, so I'll show you again. Now, if you take one-to-one relationship, right? Now, think there is an entity type, say, this is say, what? Employee. So, there are instances of employees, sorry. There are instances of employees, right? So a lot of employees, and think there are departments. Other entity type. Say there are 4 departments called D1, D2, D3 and D4. There are thousands of employees starting with say E1 to E. E1000, right? Now, if we take the manage relationship between these two, this is the relationship which is say manage, right? Now, according to our situation, now these departments, 4 departments, so one department can have one manager and one employee can manage one department, that is one-to-one relationship. So there can be 4 relationships between one of these 4 employees and the departments. So for example, this particular employee manage department number 1. So this particular employee manage department number 2. This employee manage department number 3 and this employee manage department number 4. So only 4 employees manage 4 departments and there should be 4 relationships therefore. So this is one-to-one relationship. Similarly now, if you change this, instead of manage work for relationship, now it is one-to-many relationship. That means one employee works for one department, but one department there are many employees. That you can show because if we change this manage to work for, then work for, then all these employees are working, right? So this employee also works for department number 1. This employee also works for department number 2. And this employee works for again department number 1. So this is one-to-many type of relationship. One entity of one side relate with one entity of the other side, but that one entity of the other side relate with many entities of another side, like that. So many-to-many is one, say, so for example, project case, if we consider in our example we discuss in the class, employee works on project, one employee can work for many projects, and in one project there are many employees. So therefore, these entities can relate with many of this side, and these entities can relate with many of this side as well. Each of these entities can relate with many, and each of these also can relate with many, right? So that is many to many relationship. So you have to explain that. So this case you can give examples, right? Or I think I have give you some exercises, right? There also you can find a lot of examples for this case. What else? We have around 1 hour left, right? So we can discuss anything if you have. I think we have some traditions here now. After exams, last day of the exam, we are going to have a feedback session. So kind of informal discussion or discussion with you and the lecture panel, or with all the visiting lecturers and all. So you can give your feedbacks about the course and what you expect, and any improvements about those things. And also with that we are going to have some kind of get together. So those who are not coming for lectures, also we are coming for the exam, but I request you to reserve the last night, that is after the exam of the last day, for that, and stay with here, not here actually, we are arranging it outside, maybe in a nearby hotel, not in Colombo, but to the university. So reserve the date and make the arrangements. Also those who are coming from distances, and some arrangements around here to stay in Colombo somewhere, right? So that is good actually, because you are not meeting regularly in this course, and so it's a good chance, because networking is very much important nowadays, right? Knowing each other, and through networks actually you are getting opportunities as well nowadays, not by CVs and all, because nowadays when recruiting, especially for higher positions of the organizations, they always rely on the relationships, known people, because they know the people and they know how they behave and all these things. So therefore these things are important. Therefore I request you to make the day reserved for this and participate for that event. And we are allowing you to organize such an event at the end of the course for the year. So you can arrange your own get together, whatever the scale you like. And so this one we will arrange for you. And at the same time, we'll make available lecturer feedback forms in the LMS from this week onwards. So please provide your genuine feedback about lecturers, because that is important. That is anonymous, right? So we don't see who provide that feedback. So the identity is not there. right? No one can see, even administrator can't see whose feedback is this. But we have to have, we need to get a general idea about lecturers, because in administration it is important to decide how to improve a lecturer, or whether to keep that lecturer for the next year or whatever the thing. Right? Therefore, please provide your genuine feedback about the lecturer feedback, and I assure you it is anonymous. Your identity is not there. Right? Your identity is not there. Therefore, so I'll show you to make it clear to you, right? I can't show others' feedback, but I'll show my feedback. I'm not sure whether it is available. Now this is, for example, this is what we can see, the only thing what we can see, right? You know identity, no individual responses. We can't see those things, right? I'll show you. View by response option is there. See the response here, it is anonymous. Respondent is not visible here, right? We don't see who's the respondent. Therefore, please provide your genuine feedback. That is very much important, right? Because now this is technology based, therefore you may reluctant to provide the feedback. If I give you a paper and ask, of course you will fill and give, because you are sure that you didn't write your name there. But here, because it is system, you might think, oh, there may be a way to identify. No. Based on that, no changes in your results or whatever, right? So therefore, please provide your feedback, genuine feedback here. That is very much important. Okay, there is a question from Bandara. What is digital certificate and how it works? Actually, this is something related to the public-private key infrastructure. The digital certificate is a way of identifying whether this is the genuine site, right? Whether this is a genuine site. Now think that you access, say, your online banking site, right? But you know that one can create very similar site, because you can see how the website looks like. So one can look at that and they can create this very similar site, right, which is identical. And when you search for your online banking site, most of the people, you know, that they try to do it by typing, say, online banking BOC in the Google, and you will get the links and click on the link and access the site. You don't type the URL, right? But sometimes even you type the URL, you know, that one example I'll tell you, I think I showed you in the class as well, Sampath Vishwa. Now when you type in www.sampathvishwa.com to write Vishwa, there are different ways, no, VISHWA, WISHVA. So the original site may think that WISHVA, but one can get the domain VISHWA and create very similar site, right? And then when someone type the URL, they type the wrong configuration and they see the same page, right? They see the very same page and they might think, so this is the correct page, and you might enter your username and password there and access, but it is not your real site. then they are getting your username and password and access the real site using that username and password. This kind of attacks we call phishing attacks. So it is possible to deploy these phishing attacks because if someone actually, if there is a certificate, digital certificate for a particular website, then it is not possible. Actually, what happens in the digital certificate is, now the digital certificate, how it works is, now again I told you, if you remember, I told you about the public key and private key. So public key is make available publicly and private key is only kept with the server. Right? Now when someone access www.sampathvishwa.lk or BOC, whatever the LK, right? When they send the web page to your browser, they sign the web page using their private key. You understand? They encrypt. Actually what happens is they are encrypting the web page using their private key. But once it is encrypted using private key, because I told you that public-private key pair, using one key, if you encrypt it, it can be decrypted using the other key. Right? So what we discussed earlier is you encrypt with the public key, and then whatever you encrypted can be read only by the Sampath Bank or BOC web server because the private key is only with them. The other way, if you consider, if someone encrypt the page using their private key, that is only that person, because no one else can encrypt the message using their private key because no one else has the private key. But anyone else can decrypt the message using their public key and see whether that message is sent by them, because it can be decrypted only using their public key. Nothing else. Now normally what happens is they encrypt the message using their private key, and the encrypted message they send along with the plain message. The plain message is also the website. This website or information related to the web page, to display the web page. Right? Now once say viewer gets it, viewer try to decrypt the encrypted part using their public key, and then they can compare whether what they have got is similar to their message. If it is similar, we know that this message is sent by this web server, and we can make sure that this website is their website, none other than their website. So that is what we call digital certificate. That is a way of ensuring that we are viewing the correct website, because anyone else also can set up a website quite similar, but they cannot get the certificate, same certificate, because the certificate authorities, before providing the certificate, they make sure that this is a real business, or what is the nature of the business, all these things, because you have to provide that information, business registration information and all these things. So therefore, anyone can't get that easily, but one can set up a certificate authority for themselves and create certificates as well. That is why it is important always to check whether the certificate is from a well-known trusted authority, like VeriSign, Symantec or GeoTrust, Komodo. There are well-known certificate authorities. So Vanda, you got the answer? Right. So you can go through the slides. There the complete description is available with diagram, so you get some idea from that as well. Actually, now, if you follow what I have mentioned at the very beginning, so you have to have all the questions you have so far while studying, right? Because you should complete like at least 12, 13 lessons we have discussed so far, because I asked you to do this weekly basis, otherwise it's really difficult. Now I got some feedback here in the class. Now we have only like 4 weeks left and lot to go through, and how to go through all these things, right? Now, of course, that is difficult. That is why we said at the very beginning, and actually that is why I try to keep you in touch by giving these lecture review quizzes and all, and other lecturers also have done that same. Because that problem. We want to keep you in touch with the course. But again, if you go back and look at those lecture review questions, the respondent rate is somewhere around 40. That means around 30, 20, 30 is missing. So in the exam, actually, it's really difficult. It may be difficult for them to catch up all these things during last few weeks. That is the thing. Now, if it is a physical class, at least you are coming to the lecture and listening to the lecture, and then we know that you are with the course. But the nature of this course is you are not coming. We don't know whether you are listening, or we are not forcing you to at least to come online. So altogether, if we consider, the maximum is around 20, right? Except those special presentation days, the maximum participation is 20, physical and online both. Then there are 50 more. So then how can I make sure that all those 50 going through the course? And I just check this course only. Now there are even people like from 20, 30 days not access the LMS. From 20, 30 days, I can check those things. There are a lot of people who have not accessed the LMS for 10 days. Right? So that's the thing. Now we'll look at this course. See. Now the participants you can see, right? The one who last access is Vitanage, right? 20 seconds before he has access, and 5 minutes. Now you can see in this page. This is first 20. One is 15 hours before that. Those are okay, right? And this is the 40th student. 40th student is before 3 days, and this is 60th. 60th means now see this page if you look. So beyond that, see, for 1 week they have not access. That is like beyond 50. For 1 week they have not access, and if you go to the last page, see, there are people like 19 days, 22 days, 37 days, and we can assume these people might have give up the course, like 78, and there are 2 who have never, no, 1 actually, never access. So that person might have not registered, though this is an disabled account, but others you can see. So for them I am telling actually, so it's very much important to be in touch with the course, otherwise it's really difficult. And also keep this in mind for the next semester as well, right? So Rajipan want to be the first, and he just accessed the LMS therefore. No questions? So you are looking for your position. Even activity wise I can check these things. Discussion forum or whatever. Empty discussion forums. Anything else? Out of maybe subject, anything related to the course or exam or whatever? Oh, and the thing is actually now you are asking about SPSS here. Now, of course, you can have SPSS, but the thing is we can't make it available on the LMS because now you know SPSS is the license SPSS is very expensive. We don't have license copies here. What we have is a pirated one, so such things we can't make available in the LMS because actually university doesn't allow to use pirated copies, but we don't have any option, therefore we are using. So if you want, you can get it from the lab here, you can bring your devices and get it installed. But the thing is we can't make it available. Actually it is not possible because the size is also very large, right? So we can't upload that much of large files in the LMS. That is one thing. And that's the thing. But if you can come here, you can get it installed to your device. Because installation also not that easy because it's a cracked copy. You have to install the cracks and all. So you can ask it from Chiran and he will install it for you in your device. He installed in your device. Yeah, but those who are online actually they are not coming, so that is a problem actually. So they can get it installed from Chiran. Yes, I think 2 or 3 subjects next week. You have 2 left. MA, I think, management accounting you have. Business statistics over. No, you have one, right? Financial accounting also you have, right? 3 subjects, I think. And the MIS is over, and business skills is over, and corporate finance also over. Finished, right? Those are finished. Now, other 3 subjects you have in next week. You have 3 subjects, Vitanage, that is financial accounting, business statistics, and management accounting. So actually, the calling with this last name is not that convenient, right? What is your first name, Vitanagi? Ramda. Okay, Ramda. So actually, so that is again a good thing. Next time, I have to make sure that when creating your account, without using initials, it's better to use first name and last name, right? So next, okay, I may not be able to edit the available account, but for the next batch, of course, at least I'll make that change. No, you don't have to do assignments, but we don't count your old assignments as well. So we normally mark only for the paper for repeaters. If you are doing repeat, but medicals, we count assignments. In case you can't face the exam because of a medical reason, we count your old assignments. Without having a valid reason, if you are not facing the proper your attempt, then you will be counted as repeaters, right? Without having a valid reason. So any good valid reason, if you provide with evidence, we consider those things. So you are not repeating. Otherwise, you have to repeat. If you are repeating, you have to pay as well per subject, and at the same time, you get maximum B minus. If you are repeating, you can't score more than B minus. That is the minimum requirement to pass. So you can score only that. You just go through the handbook. That is those information is there. And the other thing is assignments will not be counted. Only from paper you have to score that B minus. Okay. And the good thing is we are conducting repeat exams for first semester subjects with your second semester, that allowing you to complete within 1 year, even if you repeat subjects in the first semester. But if you repeat subjects in the second semester, you have to wait another year. So second semester you can do only with the next batch, because so that is our procedure here. Actually, that is additional support we are giving by having exams. Normally it is not happening here. We only, if you repeat one semester, we don't have any extra exams organized. You have to do with the next batch. But for first semester, we are giving you a chance to complete within 1 year, in case if you repeat in first semester, right? And the other thing is you have to maintain average of B minus, I think, right? You can keep C's, but you have to maintain average of B minus. C's, of course, you can keep, but with other subjects, you have to cover it and maintain an average of B minus. Okay. And now before exams, I just need to tell you now. So if you want to access the library and all, you can do that, right? You have your IDs and you can go to the library and you can refer the library. Now if you are taking study leaves and all for the exams, you can come here and you can go to the library and study there, right? So that is possible. And even if you want facilities to do group discussions and all, so that is also possible. So you just let us know, so we can arrange. There is a mini library for the department as well, so you can have discussions there as well, and you can use the computer labs also. So that is possible, right? If you want to have like group discussions and all, that is possible. So use those resources, even though this is online. So at least for exam periods, you might have to use these resources. What else? No more questions. I think you all have applied for the exam, right? Otherwise also you are not getting the chance to sit for the exam. Only for those applied can sit for the exam, because we are arranging, not we actually, the examination division uh, issue admissions only for those who applied. And also it is not enough to apply, you have to pay your course fees as well. If you have not paid also, you will not be allowed to sit for the exams, right? Payments, you didn't hand it over, did you? Okay, have you paid? You didn't hand first installment, second installment. Uh-huh. That is okay. The second installment, okay, if you paid, it's better to hand over the slip to them. So manually is also possible, or otherwise you can post it. No. Sorry? Why? You want to make changes? Now, if you have already uploaded, no problem then. Anyway, we'll check with you if your application is not there. 63 have submitted. What's your number? 7. So it's there. You have MIS as the last paper, nah? So this 23rd, then 23rd evening, you will have the feedback session and the get together, right? Most probably in Hotel Clarion, Kiribati. We'll let you know the exact place and exact venue, the hall. And most, I got several inquiries about the expanding the exam, right? Like without having 2 subjects per day, but that is not possible. You know the reason, because people from those who are working abroad coming for the exam, so they can't stay here for a long time. So therefore, we have to limit the exam only for 2 weekends. No, that is what we used to do, right? According to the nature of this course. So that is why actually we announced the exam days at the very beginning as well for you to arrange those things, right? So we are going to have it within 2 weekends. But the thing in this week is actually we are having a holiday in one day. Then otherwise, at least we can expand this for 4 days. But I think the 15th is a holiday, public holiday. Therefore, we can't have exams on 15th. So therefore, the arrangement is something like this. It seems no more questions. If you don't have anything to discuss, so we can wind up for today and wind up for the semester as well, right? So this is the last formal meeting we are having here, right, in this subject. So therefore, I like to wish you all the best for the exam, right, and do it well. So go through in my case, you can go through the slides and get an average idea about what we have discussed. Then you can write any question, no problem. But you have to have the idea, clear idea. So what is it, right? The concepts and all. So that is because actually in this subject the resources are enormous, right? Everywhere there are resources. So you just type what is public private key in the internet, you can find a lot of resources for that. So that is the nature of this subject, because this is very common subjects, right? In many areas we can have, so for example, RFID, you can find an applications of RFID, you can find a lot of things. So use those as well and be prepared for the exam. No, you have to collect it from here, right? Even on the exam day, you can collect it, no problem, right? In the morning exam day, you can collect it and get it attested by one of the lecturer available there, coordinator, because the attestation is to ensure that it is you, right? So we know you, therefore no problem. So you can come with your student ID, and if you have not collected your student ID, that also you can collect on the exam day, because it is very much important for the exam, right? You have to have your student ID with you for the exam. And also, because it is the last time we meet formally now about the ethics of exam, also you have to be very, we are very strict on that, right? So don't try to do any unethical thing. It may be a reason, maybe to hold your results or any disciplinary action, maybe even the complete studentship cancellation can happen, right? Therefore, don't do any unethical thing, or don't try to do any unethical thing in the exam. So the best thing is we prepare well, right? That's all. Okay then, so then again wish you all the best for the exam, and we'll stop.